Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. Rapid technological improvements in the last decades have helped develop web technologies, brought about various new online services, and unlocked new job possibilities. In order to take advantage of these opportunities and play a key role in the digital economy, young people need to acquire the essential digital skills. The digitization of the economy involves all aspects of society, influencing the way people interact and bringing about broad sociological changes. Our guest on the program this week is Olalekan Akinyele, the founder of College Tees. Thanks for joining us on Network Africa.
Good evening. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. So can you explain a digital economy briefly?
Oh, okay. If I'm going to define this, permit me to use Deloitte's definition. And it basically is the economic activity that results from, billions of everyday online connections, transactions that happen amongst people, businesses, devices, data processes, and the likes. And, what actually makes this happen, the hyperconnectivity is as a result of internet, mobile technology, and also the Internet of Things. If we look at how, we do things today, we basically do most things on our phones, do buy products, we buy services, we interact a lot, we consume content, a lot quite on our mobile phones. And that's basically what the digital economy is. The whole activity that happens, with the aid of internet and the Internet of Things.
And what would you say is the current state of the digital economy in Africa?
Africa is a very young, market, and I think the whole world actually recognizes that. Africa, as of now, has the largest youth population, and in 30 years, it basically is going to be the largest youth population in the entire world. And when I mean youth population, I'm talking about people between the ages 0 to like 24 years. And at the current state, yeah, you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, and at the current state, really, going by Africa Development Bank's some data, gotten from Africa Development Bank, the way it is structured right now, we see, I don't know if you noticed, some 44 startups that was listed in 2019, that had raised at least $1 million, during this, in this year. And if you look at the way it is, most of those startups are into fintechs and all of that. By my books, Nigeria has about 11 startups from that list. South Africa has about 15. Kenya has about 8. And most of these startups also are headquartered in those regions. And about 34% of those startups are basically fintechs. 13% of them are into transportation, 13% are into health. And what that actually tells you is that, mobile money is actually big, in the market today. And that's why you see a lot of fintechs are rising up, across the continent. Because people are beginning to do transactions even from your phone. Even with USSD, that is, even if you don't have a smartphone, you basically just have a feature phone. You can actually still do, send money, receive money, pay for goods and services and the likes. And, that's why we see the rise of fintechs, keep springing up here and there across the continent.
Yeah, definitely. But what are the implications of digital transformation in Africa's economic landscape?
So, there's a school of thought that actually believes that, in Africa, we didn't actually go through the process in terms of coming from tradition to digital. I mean, if you look at the developed countries, I mean, there was a process in which they passed through. For us, because again, most African countries are consumer nations, so we basically just jumped the gun and we just found ourselves here. So, and right now, most of what we're trying to do is we just create based on what the world is going through. So, as a consuming nation, Nigeria, for example, I mean, it's going to change quite a lot of things. It's going to change, I mean, how work is done. It's changing how people actually consume. It's changing consumer experience. It's changing even how we supply stuffs. And the truth is, we have to start positioning ourselves also for, I mean, especially positioning the youth, for these things. I mean, quite a lot of things are going to change in the future. I mean, things are already changing.
Yeah, things are always changing.
From how we educate young people to, the kinds of products we design, to even how we run businesses today, implications are beginning to, hit on, these areas, of business across the continent, really. Yeah.
All right, then. Olalekan Akinyele, the founder of Qualities. It's been very interesting getting your thoughts on Africa Tech today. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Finally on the program, reinventing the wheel with a Nigerian kids unicycle coach. 29-year-old Nigerian Olalekan Kuyoro runs an after-school club where children are taught to ride and perform tricks on unicycles. The club takes in children between the ages of 7 to 15, and he believes the club is a way to keep the kids out of trouble.
In the driveway of a suburban Lagos house, 14-year-old Kehinde Oguntokun juggles colorful circus clubs as he swings around on a unicycle. The teenager has been cycling on the one-wheel vehicle for 4 years, learning the skill at the dedicated school, the JKB, or God Knows Best Unicycle Academy in Nigeria's commercial capital.
I've been riding unicycle for the past 4 years because I like unicycle because it's a new sport. People don't actually do it very much. So it looks new to people when they see it with us.
After failing to get into university, Kuyoro learned to unicycle in 2012 and then decided to teach children rather than adults.
I started here 2014 with a child, Joshua by name. So he was 7 then, like 7-year-old boy. And I was amazed that this unicycle of a thing took me a month to ride, and a 7-year-old boy could just do it easily. So I think that changed my thinking that instead of me looking for adults to teach this thing, probably I should go to primary schools, go for young girls age like 5, 6, 7, and 8.
A performance skill rarely seen on the streets of the West African country, Olalekan Kuyoro founded the academy in 2014 and has trained more than 40 children.
People really don't know what it is, like a broken bike. So they're like, what's the future for this thing? I'd rather put my child in football academy rather than doing this thing. So I have to talk to them, work with some of their parents, I mean assist them to carry 1 or 2 things, try to create friendship, like try to be friendly with them and, oh, mommy, you want to do this and that, so that tomorrow or next tomorrow I'll be able to get his or her child out to come for my training.
The self-funded school, which holds classes in Kuyoro's driveway, trains children aged 7 to 15, teaching them juggling, skipping, and other tricks on unicycles. It has 18 unicycles, each costing 7,000 naira and requiring regular maintenance. They show off their skills on Instagram, where the school's account has more than 16,000 followers.
Very creative. Well, that's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Teniola Shoboale. Have a lovely weekend.